Alright everybody, welcome to the SummoNerds deck building video numero uno. I'm Evan.
And I'm Matt.
And today we're going to take a quick look at two of our favorite decks, two of our favorite underrated decks, Maldaria and Sneeks. Matt's going to take over the Sneeks real fast here, and then I'm going to show you my Maldaria build. We'll see if you like them.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Matt of the SummoNerds. I'm actually just here to show you how to make a good Sneeks deck post-Alliance. This is a deck that I've used a few times, and I'm quite fond of it. I think it makes Sneeks very competitive. These are Sneeks starting cards minus the wall. So he has 6 commons that he starts on the board with. So that means we have 12 commons to build in if we wanted to. I don't use the full 12 slots, but I do use a significant amount. Now these are the cards that I left in Sneeks' deck that are part of his base deck. I left 2 Berserkers in outside of the initial Berserker, 2 Fighters, and 1 Slinger. The Slinger kind of just a surprise range for some moment. The Cave Goblins don't actually have very much in the way of range. There's obviously the Climbers. They cost 1 magic, and I like to function Sneeks at a very minimal magic cost. I like to keep most of my units 0. The exception being these 2 Berserkers that I like for just some surprise attack dice, maybe towards the end game in particular. And the Fighters, of course, are just great units, being able to attack after the attack phase. So if you can set them up in such a way that you benefit from 5 attacks, that's always nice. I also have a unit in particular from Frick's deck that I'd like to introduce to this team, and that is the Clinger. And I think the Clinger is actually great in Sneeks' deck. 1 being 0 cost, so it benefits from all the 0 cost events. I guess Rush, they don't particularly get to move, but they can chain really nicely off something else that does. For example, you could rush up a fighter somewhere, then the Clinger would follow that during the event phase, maybe rush something else right after that could attach to that same Clinger, and that Clinger benefits from those 2 units. Maybe get it in position for like a horde attack, perhaps, or then afterwards maybe have Sneak Sly up there. Creating a nice spot, just nice positioning is what the Clingers are best for, so I do enjoy them in Sneek's deck. That's it from Frick. I just put 2 Clingers. I took out 2 Slingers for that, just because I'm not crazy necessarily about the Slingers. I do like that they're ranged. You can maybe even throw in like maybe some Runts, just some other 0 cost unit from Frick. Anything's great in Sneek's deck that costs 0. I'm a big fan of any 0 cost unit going in there. This is just my preference for the chain. I like to keep that 1 ranged Slinger in there, like I said. Now I also have some Alliance units that I put in here as well, some Alliance commons. And I have these 5 Prisoners. I love the Prisoners for 2 reasons. 1, they're a nice beefy 0 cost unit with their 2 health. They might survive a little, especially with the invincibility threat, so get them into position for something big. In another turn, they can rush up there just like any other 0 cost. Invincibility makes them annoying because they have to be dealt 2 wounds. The other thing is, even if they don't come out properly, they can go into your prison pile. Obviously, Sneeks can't do anything with a prison pile, but there are some champions that can benefit from having things in the prison pile, and I do have 1 of those in my deck as well. As far as champions go, these are my picks. The Soul Eater was the one I was referencing being particularly useful with the prisoners if they by chance don't come out. I'm really a big fan of the Eater in general, but he can be fairly easily starved, and I guess the same applies to the Soul Eater, and he does cost 2 more, but that extra bit of health and that he can eat from the prison pile as well as a common on the field gives him extra survivability in my experience. So I'm really a big fan of having him in this deck. 1, for his huge amount of health, his nice attack die, and the fact that the commons are not a viable defense when he is out. Obviously, he'll just gobble them up. Another one of my favorites in this deck is from Frick's, Smeege. With his 0 cost, gets to benefit from all of Sneeks' events. So he gets the Rush, the Rage. Like, we combine that with a Horde attack, we have like a super Smeege on our hands with who knows how many attack die. And of course, we have Mook over here. Mook belongs in almost every Cave Goblin deck. I can't imagine one without Mook. Actually, the Warden, the Cave Filth, I don't really use Mook that often just because I'm more of a fan of the mutations. But as far as Sneeks goes, definitely need Mook in there to generate those extra attack die. I took out, obviously, Blarf and the Eater from the base deck. I'm actually a big fan of both of those champions. I obviously switched out the Eater for a better version of himself, but Blarf is really nice for just being one cost and having all that health, but he doesn't synergize with the 0 cost events that Sneeks has, so I don't feel too bad about taking him out and switching him with Smeege. And obviously you have to pay a bit for him if you want him to survive, but he can be a great assassin in the late game. The other thing is we have a really expensive champion, modestly priced champion, and one that is essentially free to get out initially. So that our total champion cost is 11 magic. So I think that's very reasonable with the Cave Goblins theme of requiring very little magic to succeed. But yeah, that's essentially my deck. I've also included Beast Riders in the past. I just like that they can run all the way down, maybe chain with a Horde attack. But this is the deck, after a few builds with the Alliance's cards, this is the one that I am most proud of when it comes to Sneaks. I've gotten some nice results with this one. Yeah, that's my deck, so until next time.
Alright everybody, so here's my Queen Maldaria deck. Queen Maldaria starts out with her commons. She's got 2 Firelings, 2 Fire Archers, and a Fire Dancer. And this is actually a pretty decent setup for her, because she's got the Firelings, which are weak, but maybe provide some problem for your opponent movement in the early game with their ability. The Fire Archers are, of course, deadly with Queen Maldaria. You can use her ability to keep them alive while still picking your opponent. And the Fire Dancer is this wonderful tanky unit. You can kind of, it's out on its own in the front row in the beginning of the game. You can kind of send it into your opponent's territory, and it's something early game they have to deal with. Okay, so Queen Maldaria has 5 commons in the beginning of her game, so that means we have 13 commons that we can deck build. I decided to keep a couple of them the same, but this is my deck from pre-alliances, so I didn't put any post-alliance stuff in it, as you're about to see. Alright, so I start with 4 Fire Archers. I just don't think Fire Archers can be praised enough. They are such a deadly unit. In Maldaria's deck specifically, Passion of the Phoenix, that event turns these things into potential 3-ranged attack with Precise. You can kill Savagers from range instantly. All of your archers in one turn could have Precise. They're relatively low cost. I know they have low health. That is their drawback, but with Maldaria, you can pull them back into the back row again, kind of like what Jexit can do with ranged units like an assassin in the end game. Very difficult to kill them while she is pulling them back, and you can pester your opponent all game long. In the spirit of Precise, I've got Guardians as well. Guardians are a little bit tankier, which is wonderful, and obviously they don't have the range, but they have melee, and melee is fine in Maldaria's deck. With her ability to pull things back, you can summon these suckers up in the front row, run into your opponents, attack them with Precise Die, again, potentially with Passion of the Phoenix for that excellent play, in the end of the game, killing a champion or doing something unexpected. We've got 4 of them, and we had 4 of the Fire Archers. This means 8 of the 16 units in your deck, technically 10 because you start out with 2 Fire Archers in her starting lineup. So a little over half of her deck has Precise. Why that's so wonderful is her 2 Passion of the Phoenixes. This way you always have something on the board that can benefit from Passion of the Phoenix. You always have the ability to make that play. I almost forgot to mention one of the best things about the Guardian. The Guardian has 2 life, which means if you summon it onto a wall, you can immediately use Lava Flow, killing things around the wall, but not your Guardian. Your Guardian will only take 1 hit, which means it can still move and attack that turn again, possibly with some Precise with Passion of the Phoenix. So you can open up some spaces and then move your Guardian around without killing it, unlike the Archer. The next thing we've got are these Fire Beasts. I don't love the Firelings. They are just a little weak, and I actually took out the for the Guardians as well. I took out the Fire Dancer, so this deck is lacking a heavy cost common. The Fire Beasts replace both the Fire Dancer and the Fire Ling, and how they do that is they still synergize with her ability Release the Hounds. You can still use that in place of the Fireling. You can have the Fire Beasts. If you really need to build magic in the event phase for some reason, or to pull out some units next to Maldaria, which is one of the most useful things that you can do with Release the Hounds, you can search through your deck and grab those Fire Beasts and then build magic and summon a Fire Beast directly in front of Queen Maldaria all in the same turn. If you have some emergency play where you need something with a few life in between Maldaria and some tanky champion or something, this is an easy way of setting something up in front of your opponent. They also provide some synergy with a champion later, but we'll talk about that in a second. Alright, here are my 3 champions. I've got in my champ pool Duke Ramazal. Duke Ramazal is an obvious choice. I haven't changed him from her base deck. Duke Ramazal is Precise, 6 life. He also, because of Passion of the Phoenix, he gives you that excellent Precise boost. He can really wreak havoc upon your opponent in an unexpected situation, come up and kill Elien instantly, or Endrick is more likely, I suppose. He can come up and kill a 4-life unit instantly, or can team up with a Guardian or a Fire Archer to take out 7 life immediately. That's huge. It can kill almost any summoner in the game in one strike if you position things correctly. And for 8 magic, that's not a huge cost. Raleigh is the next one that I really want to mention. Raleigh is not a great champion, if we're being honest, by herself. But Raleigh synergizes so well with the Phoenixes in Maldaria's deck. She is able to fly over your opponent's units. She's able to get into position wherever you need her, sometimes saving Maldaria, preventing her from being hit by something where your opponent didn't think you could save her. She's really nice for that quick defensive move, considering Maldaria is such a weak summoner life-wise. Raleigh is also excellent because her synergy with the Phoenixes allows her to gain some extra attack dice, which she sorely needs. I have had games where she's gotten 5 attack from the Phoenixes, and that's a wonderful thing when you can position things correctly to get 5 attack with Phoenixes, or even 3 attack is fine. Surprise 3 attack champion that can fly over units for only 4 cost is actually quite nice. The worst case scenario is you build her to magic somewhere in the middle of the game because it's not coming up, the chance to use her is not happening. And that's fine, because she's not the strongest thing in your deck, she's just an option in the deck. The final choice here is Holius. Holius synergizes with the Fire Beast, she has range, she's got a little bit of life to her, and she also only costs 4. So overall, these champions don't cost a whole lot, which allows you to play more of those Guardians, more of those Fire Archers. It really allows you to play a little more on the common heavy side of things, which I think for Maldaria is really nice, especially with her ability. Overall, this deck is really nice because it provides 3 lanes of synergy. It provides your Duke Ramazal, Fire Archer Guardian, the precise lane. This idea is present throughout the whole deck. Any of these units can be used with Passion of the Phoenix to a deadly effect. It also provides the Raleigh and Phoenix lane. This is a little harder to set up, but certainly also present in the event that you just can't get that Duke Ramazal Fire Archer thing going just how you want it. The Raleigh Phoenix thing is much cheaper and allows you to get a bunch of attack dice quickly, possibly flying over units for that extra positioning. The Holius Fire Beast is just always a good choice in the Phoenix Elves. It's low cost, a lot of tanky life out there, and it is a very good economic play. Holius is a decent champion all on her own, but with the Fire Beast, she's a force to be reckoned with, and with the Release the Hounds event, it really opens up some possibilities. Alright, thanks everybody. That was my Queen Maldaria. Alright everybody, those were our builds for both Maldaria and Sneeks.
Could potentially do some more deck building if you guys like this. I don't know, maybe we could do an instructional video.
I would like to show off a Moira deck build that I have, and I'm very, very proud of.
I could do a Merrick. I have a nice Merrick deck that I really enjoy.
Gosh, yeah, Matt's great with Merrick, so if he deck builds a Merrick, that'll be excellent.
Right, or even Chexic, who knows?
Oh, kind of showing off some...
Yeah, bringing out the big gun.
Alright, yeah, that's excellent. Well, look forward to that next time. If you have any other things you'd like deck builds of, just leave it in the comments, and we'll get to it eventually. But yeah, we've got a couple ideas for some new videos, an instructional video, perhaps challenge series.
Actually, I think we could do the Elien versus Sneeks that I was talking about.
Oh yeah, we could do that challenge. I have been wanting to do that, either that or Sneeks versus Grognack. To tell you what I'm going to do, we're going to do a Sneeks challenge next time, but the question is, who is he square off against? Is he square off against Elien or Grognack? I'm going to put up these cards. Click Elien if you want to see the Elien match. Click Grognack if you want to see the Grognack. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Alright, thanks everyone. Have a great night.
Till next time.